The death of former President Muhammadu Buhari has reignited speculation about the political future of his loyalists, particularly those from the now defunct Congress for Progressive Change, CPC. With Buhari's passing, analysts believe the All Progressive Congress may face renewed challenges from the late leader's formidable cult-like followership, long estimated at over 12 million voters. Tensions have begun to surface between the APC and the African Democratic Congress, with both parties vying to attract Buhari's political base. The development follows remarks by former military head of state General Abdul Salami Abubakar, who suggested that the former president's death could reshape Nigeria's political dynamics. Well, joining us on the show to discuss the current rumors making the rounds about a possible disruption of the 2015 merger since the death of former President Buhari is Farouk Aliyu, APC Chieftain and a former CPC stakeholder. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the program today.
Good morning, our Nigerian wife. Good morning, Dr. Rufai. Good morning,
Rufai.
Dr. Abat.
Okay, Mr. Farouk Aliyu, to what extent do you think that General Muhammadu Buhari's exit from the APC coalition, specifically, he having led the CPC into that coalition that then has been in government since 2015, will affect the dynamics, the calculations for 2027? Are we likely to see a situation whereby the APC loyalists, the CPC members of that coalition, now without their shepherd, are likely to go astray? How do you think his exit will impact that his political constituency that he has joined since 2014, 2015?
Well, good morning, Nigeria. Well, it's a sad thing that we lost our leader, who was Nigeria's president. And yes, it's very sad. But whether that will affect the coalition or the merger, well, I don't think so, because all Nigerians can remember very well, there was a time when one of us, who was one of us, El-Rufai, went to him to, tell him that he was going to leave the party. And when El-Rufai came out of that meeting, he gave an impression that the president, late president, endorsed the movement. 2 days later, or the day after, actually, that El-Rufai's interview, he came out with a statement that he's a bona fide member of APC. This is the party that supported him to become president twice, and that he believes in the government of Bola Tinubu and whatever the government was doing. And that was the last statement he gave out as in regards to APC. So to any loyalist of Muhammadu Buhari should continue with APC and President Bola Tinubu. But Nigerians also should remember that even while President Buhari was alive, there were some of us, at least 2 prominent members of our team, Malami and the same El-Rufai, who moved out, of the coalition, of the APC. So even while Buhari was alive, they did that. And you cannot stop them from choosing whatever they wanted to do. But then let me also tell Nigerians that, when we talk about Buhari and the movement, back in the days, the 12 million votes we're talking about are, sum up of people, the people that made it happen. Of course, Buhari was our leader. These 2 gentlemen were not there when this thing started. Because when we talk of 12 million votes, we're not talking of the CPC days only. We're talking about when Buhari started, 2001, 2002, the election of 2003. If in Kaduna, if you talk about Lawal Bawa, who is still there, late Wadanas, who is still there. So many of them, back in the days. The Harry Marshalls of that time, Tam David West, all across the country and so on. So those are the people that made the 12 million votes. but of course with the integrity of our leader, Muhammadu Buhari. So I am assuring Nigerians that, yes, there are some of us that have left, but we cannot stop them from leaving. So they are free to leave. They've left, but we will forge along. We'll continue with our party. We'll continue with the president and do whatever we can do for our party.
Okay. Well, there's some analysts who are questioning this notion of 12 million votes in its entirety. Because if you look at the outcome of the last election, President Tinubu, you look at the northern share of the votes, President Tinubu had about 5.3 million votes from the north. The runner-up, Atiku Abubakar, had about 4.8 million, meaning the difference was just 500,000 in votes in the north. So this makes this 12 million votes seem a little bit mythical and almost like something that lost its force a long time ago, long before we lost President Buhari. Well, what's your take on this? Because people are saying that maybe this idea of 12 million votes is even exaggerated because we didn't see its impact in the last election.
Well, our Nigerian wife is not true. I mean, this is due to the fact that voter apathy in this country, because us, the politicians, have disappointed Nigerians. But the 12 million votes were there. They were counted at one time, in this country. But the voter apathy, if you look at the trend of election in this country, the Nigerians are tired of us politicians, certainly. That's why a lot of people don't even come out to vote. But then what do? The people that come out to vote, those are the votes that will be counted. It has got nothing to do with Muhammadu Buhari. It has got nothing to do with our movement, but the voter apathy, which means we, the collective Nigerian politicians, need to get our acts together to start, practicing what we preach so that Nigerians can have confidence in us all and come back to vote for whichever party they want. So it's got nothing to do with the vote, the numbers are not any myth, but the reality.
But Vimba is correct, Mr. Farouk, because with due respect, if you say there's been voter apathy, that has also eaten into the 12 million vote base, and it doesn't exist again. So that means people that went out to vote for you people before do not believe in you people again. And what a lot of people even attribute is
the truth...
Hang on a minute, and I will throw a spanner out there, and I know you'll catch it well. What a lot of people even attribute is that, and I'll tell you this openly, and there was a lot of rigging and mago-mago in the electoral process. That's why we had that 12 million number all this while. Because once the new electoral laws kicked in, where you have Beaver's accreditation, the numbers just dropped. So now we now see the numbers for what they truly were. I mean, I know you go back to the days of the 12 million vote, the 2007 election. I mean, those same elections that Umar Musa Yar'Adua said, those the elections that brought him were fraught with irregularities. Is it 2015 that we saw massive election numbers in Rivers State where people used to get over 1 million votes, and that doesn't exist again? So with these new electoral laws, a lot of those big bogus number of 24 million threshold, 12 million threshold, 15 million threshold election win is all long gone. What do you say to that? That is just because they've been aiding and abetting and padding votes all this while. That's why we had the big numbers.
Well, I don't have evidence to what you're saying, because back in the days, us in the opposition, we even had no way to rig election. Absolutely, we didn't have means to rig election.
You never saw any rigging of any election. No results were ever contested. You never saw that.
I'm not telling you that there was no rigging, but we did not add up the numbers. We did not add up the numbers. And you have to agree that, look, it's voter apathy. And then let's get to the breeze before we cross it. So with all these things you're talking about the beavers and so on, so let's get these things done correctly so that Nigerians can be accredited properly, and then the voting, probably in 2027. That's when we can know exactly the number of persons who go out to register and those who go out to vote. But the voter apathy in this country is true. I'm telling you. I don't know whether, Dr. Rufai, you are voting. Some of elites in this country don't even go out to vote.
Even in 2015, the results that came out from one of your biggest strongholds were challenged by the PDP. That was Kano. And in turn, you guys also challenged the results that came out of one of PDP's biggest stronghold then. That was in Rivers State. So for a politician to tell me in Nigeria that they've never added the number, they've never rigged before, Mr. Farouk, you can talk to, it's me, Rufai, you're a very good friend. We can talk about this thing. Because these are some of the offenders Nigerians don't want to hear. Saying that you've never rigged before. it's a joke.
Well, it's your opinion, Dr. Rufai. We have not rigged, but certainly I cannot say politicians don't go about rigging. But we haven't rigged, and then so let's wait till 2027,
okay.
And that time it will show who or how many people in this country come out to vote. But then I hope Nigerians will believe in us. Politicians will give us another opportunity this time around, so that Nigerians can come out and vote whoever they want to be their leader next time.
Okay, Mr. Aliyu, President Bola Tinubu has taken the step of naming or renaming the University of Maiduguri after President Buhari. And the alumni, the university community together, they have said that they are going to form a wall of resistance, that they do not think that their university should be given the name of President Buhari. Well, you know, there have been precedents. The University of Lagos, when the Jonathan administration tried to name it after MK Abiola. But how best do you think that the legacy of President Buhari can be honored, preserved, or iconized beyond this controversial naming of a university, even when its arena is not the education arena? Anybody in Nigeria knows that. Are there better ways to remember him? Do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, first of all, ASU should know that these universities do not belong to them, certainly, because they are funded 100% by government. So, I mean, but it's their opinion. I mean, there is precedent, just like what you said. But then BUK was named also after someone and so on. But that's okay, you know. But I think the best way to immortalize Buhari is by probably institutionalizing its policies in terms of honesty. I mean, his person, you know, leaders should imbibe honesty, integrity, you know, and so that's actually the best way, leading by example, so that those coming behind us can learn from those kind of things. Because naming of institutions and so on is great. Yes, it's good, you know, so that probably forever it will be there. But then if the people resist, we are practicing democracy. I'm sure the government will allow the people whatever they want to happen.
All right. Do we still have time for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So now that we've talked about the Buhari legacy and everything, in your story, you did not mention some key people, because Buba Galadima, Alhaji Buba Galadima was here the other day and told the story of how they were the first to come and market Buhari to the people. And he said the reason why they did that then was because of the proliferation of the activity of the OPC then when they were moving into a lorry and all of that. And he said they pretty much made what was this Buhari brand. Because however they marketed the Buhari brand, it was a good job they did. Buhari's brand too was, it didn't come easy like that, with Decree 4 and some other things against his name, the Umar Diko situation. I mean, we can name it. So, is it that you people are not in tandem with the likes of Buba Galadima again? Is it that you people don't carry them along? Why didn't we give due credit to people like Buba Galadima?
You see, I don't know what you mean by Buba Galadima, that we don't carry him along. First of all, we respect him. He certainly was one of the movers of the Buhari movement when we started, certainly. Was one of them. But something happened. Whatever happened, happened. So those questions, I think you should direct them to Buba Galadima. But it is not only Buba. The biggest of us all is Sule Ahama, who was our Director General of the Buhari organization. And you see, I want people to also understand that not everyone must be carried along. What do you mean by carrying along? Which means not each and every one of us must be in government.
No, that's not what he
meant. I have told you.
No, that's not what Alhaji Buba Galadima meant, sir. That's not what he meant. What he said was that Buhari was not listening to his advice any longer. And he was swayed by people that even fight for the movement that were more hungry about power. He said for him it was not about money. It was just about the tenets of having a heart and conscience for the poor and the downtrodden. And Buhari was not listening to him again. And that's where they fell out. Those were his words there. And in fact, he said very glowing things about President Buhari that day. And he got emotional. In fact, I think he shed a tear or two. So why is his name not mentioned? Honestly, is it because they fell out?
Listen. You see, I don't want to join issues with my senior brother, Buba Galadima. But honestly, the problem that happened with Buba Galadima, what happened was when we were setting up the caretaker committee of APC. That was the digression. That was the problem. At that time, we from CPC, we went for the meeting with Buba Galadima's name as the acting secretary of APC. He happened to come from Yobe State. And from Yobe State, we had an ANPP government then, the present Minister of Police Affairs, who threatened that if we do not take Tijani Tumsa as the secretary, that he was going to walk away. And a phone call was put to President Muhammad Buhari late then, that this is the problem that we are confronted with. That Yobe State said that they are going to bring secretary from Yobe. The governor insisted. And then we went with Buba Galadima's name as secretary. So a phone call was made to Muhammad Buhari. Now what do? There are two members from the northern part of this country, because the position that was given to us, CPC then, was Deputy National Chairman. The secretary was zoned to AMPP. But then we couldn't have given two highest northern positions to one state. A phone call was put to Muhammad Buhari. What he said was that, look, Buba Marwa was there, Mustafa Salihu was there. Then Buhari was informed about the situation. Now he said, look, amongst all of us, the most senior political person was Masari, who was a speaker in our political team of that time. So he put forward name of Masari as the deputy national chairman.
Okay.
That was the beginning of the problem between Buba Galadima and Muhammad Buhari.
Okay, sir.
There could be other things. Yes. So honestly, this is it. And I hope my senior brother, listen to me. I hope my senior brother will come and address this issue. That was the beginning of the problem. Okay. Then from there, he decided, okay, all right. Why? In fact, I think the mistake that was made.
Unfortunately, our time is up.
Buba Galadima was not contacted that his name was going to be removed. That was the problem.
That was the problem.
Honestly.
Okay.
Thanks for the context.
Farouk
and so from that time, he decided to leave.
Thank you so much for bringing much needed clarity to that issue. We really appreciate it. I wish we could get into more detail, but unfortunately, our time is up. Mr. Farouk Aliyu, a pleasure to be in conversation with you about the legacy of Buhari's 12 million votes.